Good evening and welcome to Small Crown Productions. Tonight we are writing another sonnet. So recently I did a fundraising campaign just to help out the food bank hunger drive, and we raised a little bit of money, and one of the things that I did for that was to give away one of my personalised Shakespearean sonnets to one lucky person who was in the pool of people that donated through my funding page. So tonight we're writing that sonnet for Verity, who won that, and this is for a friend of hers. So she has submitted all of the responses needed for us to be able to get started. I have had a little bit of a look through this. So I've got a little bit of thought already happening in my mind. But let's have a bit of a look at what was submitted. So we can see that if I scroll back to the start, we've got the person's name. Yep, she wants it to be comedy themed. It's for a birthday present for a person who is a friend of hers. She's going to give that out towards the end of this month, so I need to get this written ASAP so she can get it there. Recipient's eye color is blue, hair is brown. Favorite color is green, blue, and black, which is excellent. Some good color combos there. Recipient's favorite animal is a cat. Favorite time of year is winter. Places the recipient likes: Poland and the countryside. Now, I suspect with this person's name being Miros or Mirosh, I'm not sure how it would be pronounced, but M-I-R-O-S, it's quite possibly a Polish name. So this person's possibly from Poland and maybe is home. Aspects of the natural world that that person likes: the moon and the mountains. So we'll see if we can roll something about that in. Does the recipient believe in God? Yes, that's important because biblical references and scriptural references can be really, really useful and quite common. Because that period of time, obviously, when Shakespearean sonnets were written, you know, Christian faith was still the leading ideal of the time. Favorite flower is a gardenia. Favorite food are dumplings. Hobbies: sewing and reading. Catchphrase from that perspective. That's something I like to grab if I'm writing a sonnet, is anything really iconic to the person that's being written about. So a catchphrase that somebody uses all the time is a really great one. Going to easily be able to build that in. I suspect something like from that perspective. Maybe in the turn. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, possibly not, but we'll definitely be able to use that phrase without a problem. Things the recipient hates: the beach. So I'm always a fan of getting things that people hate so that I can either A, stay away from them completely, or B, bring it into the sonnet some way. And particularly because this one's actually a comedy sonnet, they want a lot of comedy in this one. Being able to play on things that the person hates to get that counterpoint could be a great way to go. So we might be able to have a bit of a play with concepts around the beach. Words that you would use to describe the recipient: careful, thoughtful, and selfless. It's a wonderful person. They love a good book. Now, the main message that we're trying to get across here is that this person is a wonderful friend. So this is a real friendship-based thing, and we want to give it out in the end of October. So we've got a few things to work with there. So first thing I want to do, stop sharing that. So we're going to have a look at a couple of things. So the first things I love to do is, if October is a birth month, we want to see what the birthstone is for October. And we'll see if we can find a meaning for the name Miros, if there's a clear meaning for that. Names and meanings are great. If you can find a particular, like a specific meaning for a name, like my name Paul means small or tiny. And so it's actually where Small Crown Productions came from, because my middle name is Stephen, and Stephen means wreath or crown. So Small Crown sounded way better than Tiny Wreath Productions, although that sounds pretty good as well. Anyway, so there are things that we can start on. We know it's got to be comedy, so we know we're looking for a setup and a punchline. So that's going to be important. And it may be that the comedy isn't so much the punchline. I suspect the punchline in this really is going to be that in the turn, we really start to get a sense of how this person feels about the other person. So I think the first couple of stanzas, I'll probably put the turn in line 9 so that the whole third stanza, the whole third quatrain is the turn. And so we get 2 stanzas, 2 quatrains at the start to talk about either some, well, because we want to really end on a positive note, it means we want to start with something really negative. So I think the easiest way to do it is to talk about the beach and how much the beach sucks and how much we hate the beach and everything about the beach. And we can try and find some imagery that you know, might arouse a smile or a chuckle out of some of those concepts. Yeah, so we've got a bit to play with there. So let's have a bit of a quick look here. Let's pull up good old Google and see if we can find a name for Miros. Miros, name, meaning. I should actually bookmark some of these. Miro, Slavic, peace or world. Oh, interesting. Well, that's the boy version. So Miros might be the female version of that same name. Miro comes from the Slavic root meaning mir, meaning peace or world. Sometimes Miro is used as a diminutive of longer names like Miroslav or Vladimir. But it can also be given as a name in its own right. Miro has a wonderful meaning and fits right in with the trendy names Arlo and Milo, as well as being an artistic honor name for Spanish painter and sculptor Joan Miro. There is also an indigenous Australian name Miro in the Nungia, I should know how to pronounce that better, Noongar language. A miro is a type of spear thrower which propels the aim of a spear. Oh, yeah, I know the spear throwers. Miro is also a Maori name after an evergreen tree, which is native to New Zealand. So that's Miro, but we have Miros, which looking at this being Slavic, I would say is probably the female version. Popularity, 20 names similar. Does Miros appear in there? No. You know, lists, Miro the Old. Some famous people named Miro. Okay. Let's female version of Miro. Girl's name. There we go. Let's have a look at that. Okay, well, this one actually says that Miro is a girl's name, meaning origin and popularity. Ah, I don't know if that's right. Okay, so this one says that it can be used both ways. No specific Miros. I was really particularly looking for it. Yeah, Miros, here we go. Let's see what that that's at. There we go. Oh, I stopped sharing. That was a bit annoying. Okay, oh, interesting. So this one here, first name Miros, saying it's male. Latin, preferred spelling, no known relations, frequency, Italian, Portuguese, Kurdish, Slavic, Croatian, Finnish. Got Milos. No, so no specific Miros. Okay. So, okay. Let's avoid meanings of names for this one because we can't pin that down. So we'll give that a miss. So let's go back then and let's go October. Birthstone. The October birthstone is opal or tourmaline. Opal. Let's see if there's any particular meanings around that. Stupid ad blockers. Birthstone chart. Let's see if this requires me to turn my ad blocker off. No, good. Yep, opal and tourmaline. So this is the modern and the traditional. So traditional is the opal, which is great. So we'll probably go with opal. Cool thing about opal. How is opal formed? That's rock. Scroll down here. My brain just went to pearls. This pearl's coloured a bit like an opal. Opals are in a class by themselves. Species opal is unique. Its patterns have their own descriptive vocabulary more than other gem. Each opal is distinctly individual. I love that. Opal, distinctly individual. It's a wonderful phrase that we could use for our recipient, so that we can really play on the concept of an opal being unique in every way, that no two opals are the same, much like us as people. Perhaps due to their dynamic appearance, opals are associated with light and magic, as some such credit opals with healing properties, specifically regarding the eyes. Some believe that opals could even make the weary or the wearer invisible, while some cling to negative superstitions about opals. Others wear them good luck. It's commonly restricted to blue, green, red, orange spectacles. Well, blue and green, two of our colours, I think, that were in our recipient's favourite colours. Favourite colours, green, blue, and black. Yep. Right. All right. It's tourmaline, symbolism. Mine from all over Earth. I don't know why, but my brain went to Middle Earth then. Tourmalines enjoy global popularity, healing properties, reduce stress, color naturally arranged colors into a purple. Yeah, nothing special about that. I like the idea that opals are uniquely distinct. Let's do a little bit more searching on opals. What else can we learn about opals? Who's going to have information on opals? Geoscience Australia will probably have some information about opals. If I can find the right tab, there it is. Ring of that contains an opal as a gemstone. We know that. Properties are multicolored, consisting of small spheres of silica arranged in regular pattern with water between the spheres. There you go. The spheres diffract light, white light, breaking it up into the colors of the spectrum. Opalescence, there you go. Larger spheres provide all colors, smaller ones only blues and greens. Fascinating. Opals that have a predominantly red color are very rare, as they only occur where larger silica spheres are deposited. White opals have delicate pale colors on a broad, lighter background. Black opals, very rare and valuable. Dark background, colors ranging from brilliant red through to greens, blues, and purples. So we've got that color match of blues and greens. We've got blues and greens there, so we can definitely tie the opals and the color of the opals. So blues and greens are common. So we can tie that into the concept of the opal. Boulder opals are cut with the natural host rock ironstone on the back. Okay, cool. Don't really know where opal came from as a name. Opal artifacts are 1,000 years old, discovered in East Africa as early as 250 BC. Wow, they are amazing. Romans prized opals. Oh, so the Romans prized Roman opal. I like that. Prized Roman opal. Thought to have come from mines in Eastern Europe. Ancient world's main source of opals. There are many Aboriginal Dreamtime stories. So Australia has a lot of opal. We do have a lot of opal here. 15 Great Victoria Desert. The Opal Rush Formation. We don't really need skeletons. We'll give that a miss. Cool. Historically, opal was mined most commonly by two or more individuals. I should actually confirm because Verity is giving this towards the end of October, it may be that the birthday is in November. I should just double check with her to make sure that that is actually accurate. So we might just pop away for a couple of minutes and check with Verity. Great. All right, so there's some cool stuff there that we can play with, but we know from the comedy side of it, we are still going to be looking for some counterpoint. So I suspect that that will still be our beach. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we can do. So yeah, okay. So show you the thinking that I've done already so far. So there's a couple of things that I've written about the beach. What is it about the beach? Because I'm not a massive fan of the beach myself. And so a couple of things that come to mind about the beach is the grit and the sand in your shoes, in your towel, in your swimmers. It just gets everywhere and it's uncomfortable. So there's that. Sunburn sucks. Salt water, not fun. So, there's a few things there that we can hate about the beach. So I've got here a couple of little lines that I was just throwing around for myself. The grip, these are just ideas. So the grip that rubs between your toes and gets stuck inside your shoes. And that for days beyond the beach trip, you still got the beach at home. So you can't get away from it. So you almost kind of get that sense that the beach is a parasite trying to take over things. Just this concept of, because the recipient believes in God, we can really play on, God's creation. What was God thinking? What did God have in mind when he made the beach? And then, of course, if we use mind, we can rhyme that with kind. Waves that crash upon the sandy shore. It was just a line that was sort of throwing out there as a starting point. And I came up with this idea because we know that the sonnet basically is trying to say how much of a good friend this person is. And because Poland is a place that this person likes to visit, and I suspect is probably Polish herself, I always like to try and hide words within the sonnets wherever that's possible. And by doing that, if you have a word that can be split, that turns into two other words that can work into a sentence. It's always fun doing that. I wrote a sonnet as wedding vows for a lady not too long ago, and her husband was from New Zealand. And so I created a line that said something or other, that we will both, with New Zeal and vigor, or something like that. So the word New Zealand was built in there, but not being a reference specifically to the country New Zealand. So wherever I do that, wherever I can, I like to do that. And this is another opportunity to do that with Poland, because you can pull that apart and have the word pole and the word and. And so, of course, I was thinking, well, pole and what? So my mind, when I think of the world, instantly goes to the poles, the North Pole and the South Pole. And so this line kind of came out of that. So a search between pole and pole could never find a friend like you, as honest, true, and kind. So that's very rough. It's obviously just the first draft of that rhyming couplet, but something like that will be our rhyming couplet, because this sonnet needs to end with that heartfelt moment of true friendship. And so that will be roughly the rhyming couplet at the end. I think it will be very similar to that, if not just slightly tweaked. But yes, so that's where it's at the moment. So I haven't had an opportunity to do a lot of work on this before I jumped on. So let's start bashing out some ideas about the beach. So let's play with this concept that the beach is horrible and we hate it. And what was God thinking when he made the beach? Actually, that's a really cool connection that we could do to the beach. All this, he made this thing and it's glorious and it's huge. It takes up so much of the world. How much beachfront is there on the world? There's a question. Let's ask that question. Length of world's beaches. I don't know. I don't want to know the longest beaches in the world. I want to know the total length of beach. Let's go total length of world's beaches. Total length of world's beaches. The total length of the world's ice-free shoreline determined by this analysis is 1.11 million kilometers. Okay, 1.11 million. 1 million kilometers. All right, so 1.11 million kilometers, which is comparable with previously reported values of 1 million cubic square. Okay, cool. So we're just over 1 million kilometers of beach. That's kind of funny. Cool. Good to know. Don't know if it'll be useful, but good to know. So let's expand out this idea of the beach. The grit that rubs between your toes gets stuck inside your shoes. That's obviously way too long. So what are the things that we hate about the beach? And so we've essentially got 8 lines that we can do this in. And I think we can have 3 pairs, and then the final pair can be the question. Could potentially, so we could have 3 by 2, and then the last 2 of the 2 quatrains could be that whole question of, you know, it makes you wonder what God was thinking, but you want to be careful that that doesn't turn into a turn of its own. We may question, maybe in that we don't ask the question, what was God thinking? Maybe we question his sanity about making the beach. And the turn is actually that despite his insanity of making the beach and how annoying and frustrating it is, that this person is a work of genius by God, that, you know, because she believes in God, she'll believe in creation, which means that the idea of God creating her as unique as an opal would play. That would play. All right, so we've got the turn. That God displays his genius in creating you. Unique, like an opal, that reflects. Oh, great. What we read before about the opal actually reflecting and refracting white light. That's a really great reference that we can use to actually talk about this person in their relationship with God, and the fact that anyone who's walking in a Christian faith is said to also be reflecting the light of Jesus and the light of God. So we could play on that whole reflection and refraction of the divine light. Unique like an opal reflecting divine light, something along those lines. I love that. That's really lovely. Cool. So what are the things that we hate about the beach? Yep, so we can have 2 lines about the grit that rubs in between, the sand just getting everywhere and being a pain. And then we can tie that in later with this person being someone who, actually the sand getting everywhere is a really great analogy, because we can really complain about the sand getting everywhere. And then we can talk about how this person is just everywhere in their mind. So as a friend, you're always in my mind. You permeate all of my thoughts, and you are just, in a positive way, as invasive as the sand from the beach. But we make that sound much nicer. Let's hope we make that sound much nicer. So I think we wonder, I think we phrase this as, it's almost like an 8-line question. And I think the end of quatrain 2 ends with, it makes me wonder what God was thinking. Something along those lines. Or, doesn't make me wonder what he was thinking. It might make me question his divine And I won't use divine twice, obviously, but his, we'll come up with some other word for that. But yeah, let's just put it down. It's just brainstorming for now. His divine genius, brilliance, spelling, what else? Yeah, so basically, I look at the beach and there's this and there's this and it's this, and it really makes me wonder, does God even know what the hell he was doing? Does God actually know what he was doing? But then I see you, and there's the turn. I see you and you. Yeah, so that's the turn. Yeah, great. So that's going to be lovely. That's going to be really lovely. Very heartfelt. That's really nice. Yeah. But then I see God's genius built in you. Oh, but then I see God's genius built in you. Now, of course, the difference being that I don't know if Verity believes in God, but, well, let's not say I see, because we don't know that. But let's say, oh, well, this is where we bring in the light. So sometimes you'll find a bit that actually really hits. You don't have to write these things from start to finish. So this is actually good, because like sometimes in a great story, what you need is the climactic moment. What is, like if I'm writing a play or a short film or a screenplay or whatever, sometimes it's good to know what the climactic moment is, and you work backwards from there. What logically got us to this point? What then logically got us to that point? What then logically got us to that point? And then you can write the resolution afterwards. So sometimes, the idea doesn't come from the start, it comes from the middle. And for me, this is really hitting this moment, this, I like that. But then God's genius shines from within you. So let's get my other two favorite websites up. We want Rhyme Zone. And we want thesaurus.com. Synonyms. Great. You is an easy word to rhyme, but let's see all the options that we have. Blue. Oh, yeah, we get the colors. Yeah. Great. So we can actually take that you into the color green and blue. So we can rhyme that with the favorite colors. That gives us the favorite colors. But then God's genius shines from within you. So depends how you say genius. Could be genius or genius. If we Australianize it and we really slack with that third syllable, we can get away with it. And so then that third line will be something, something, something green and blue. Yeah, so I think we'll so we'll build in something about the so we'll introduce opal here. So, but then God's genius shines from within you, alike an opal. Something about being unique. So then God's genius shines from within you, alike an opal. Something unique. What's a rhyme for unique? It's not unique New York. Unique. Oh, uniqueness. That could be interesting. Oh, that's Rhyme Zone, you idiot. Yeah, no, that's what we want. We want to rhyme it. Yeah. Oh, beak, bleak, cheek. Bleak, peak. Yeah, eek. Okay. Eek. Yeah, unique. Eek. Antique. Oh, antique. That's nice. An antique opal. Do I even want to shine? That could be interesting. But like an N, a little bit of alliteration, a little bit of assonance. Antique opal. Formed. Maybe something about the way it was formed. We know that they're dug. So an opal doesn't shine until it actually gets to connect with light. So you can have an opal that is in the ground and it might be very valuable, but it is not valuable if it is never seen, never found, and can never be affected by the light. So its true value comes from being touched by the light. And so again, we've got that reference to the idea of having her heart, her soul, her mind, her spirit touched by the light of God. Oh, yes. I like, well, let's take the up off the front of that. Let's make that like an antique opal, mined from darkest depths. Yeah, form. No, we want from. Like an antique opal mined from darkest. Might have to ditch the antique at that point. Like an opal mined from darkest depths. No, we're unsure. So like antique opal mined from darkest depths. That's a much better word. Like antique opal mined from darkest depths. Like antique opal mined from darkest depths. Beautiful. But then God's genius struck. Oh, yeah, no, not happy with that. It's sort of some offbeat. Then God's genius. Genius. It really is a diphthong. I don't know that I can get away from it. But then God's genius shines from within you. But then God's genius shines from within you. So we got 5, 6. I can ditch the but. Kind of need to put. It would be easier if I had genius as the second word. It'll flow much nicer. But genius of God shines from within you. But genius of God. But genius of God shines from within you. Like antique opal mined from darkest depths. So you to blue. No, let's take that. Let's go. Let's color and hue. Hue is a color. So rather than blue, we might actually encompass more colors by saying hue. Like antique opal mined from darkest depths. Its greatness. Oh, I think no. Oh, we need something to rhyme with depths. Got a bit excited about that one. Depths. Got for depths. No perfect rhyme. That's what I was afraid of. Do we want to stick with depths? I love the concept of it being pulled from the earth. We could flip it and use mine. Mine's a pretty sort of word. I'm not a massive fan of that as an ending. Doesn't evoke much. Darkest depths is just such great alliteration, and it's just so evocative in imagery point of view. Like antique opal mined from darkest depths. There's just something. Doesn't have to be a perfect rhyme. It's just always nicer if you can get one, in my opinion. So we've got shines and mind. There's a bit of a rhyme in the middle of the word as well, in the middle of those two lines, which is an interesting connection point. What am I trying to say? So basically what I'm trying to say here is that, so as much as we hate the creation, so the connection point here is not going to be the fact that it's beach and rock and then beach and mountain. I mean, we could go beach and mountains, and we've got that counterplay of the two types of land, types of earth that we can play on. So there's a bit of a connection there, but really the connection is that sense of God created this thing and it is horrible, and yet he created you and you're amazing. So how does that work? How does that work? So this whole first two quatrains is us going, I have to question the greatness of God. Oh, yeah. Actually, that's great. I have to question it. I have to question the greatness of God when I look at the beach and see that if he made that, I gotta question it. It makes no sense. But then I see you, and it all makes sense. His greatness truly is revealed because of you. And then we get our rhyming couplet at the end, which will be, and then great. So we're talking about the creation, which is a world thing, a universe thing. And we come back to that sense of a search between the two poles. Could never find a friend as honest, true, and kind. That's great. All right. Okay. Cool. Yep. That's going to work. So we have not had a response from Verity, so we don't know. What's the November birthstone? Because with any luck, let's go November birthstones. Topaz, opal, great. And citrine. Citrine will be the new modern one. So topaz, so in a way, I mean, all gemstones are mined. So whatever we say about the opal, we can almost pretty much say about the topaz as well. And the great thing about topaz is it's blue generally. So we get that color back into it. So it doesn't matter so much. Difference being topaz comes from the Sanskrit word tapas, which means fire. That's another great imagery that we could use. But this is comedy, and we want to play on the comedic thing. But anyway, so we can play with topaz if we have to swap it from from opal to topaz. What we're saying about the opal will actually still fit with the topaz, and we can get away with that as well. So we don't have to change the thread of where that's going. We can still see the light hit the topaz and reveal its brightest, truest form. That's nice. The light reveals its truest and purest form. So that's what God's light is supposed to do for us as humans as well. I like it. Genius of gods. Something. But genius of God shines from within you. That's the 10 syllables. And that 3-syllable word fits much better in the 2nd to 4th syllables. But like antique opal mined from darkest depths. All right. The genius of God shines from within you, like antique opal mined from darkest depths. The light reveals. The light reveals, because as a follower of believer of God, she'll understand that idea of divine light, God's light. So we're talking about, I want to try and double layer this so that we're talking about the light revealing the truest form of the rock, but also the light revealing the truest form of her heart. So we can get that sense of the gemstone almost being like her heart. And how do we get that built into a line? That, and I think we'll go with the hue rather than the blue. Find a way to reveals its truest hue. And when touched by light, we see its truest hue. I'd love to replace I'd love to replace its with something that bridges the stone and the heart. There's a way to kind of find a connection, a word, a phrase that when you read it, you can think of both the gemstone and someone's heart. Is there a way to connect those? No, I don't want the 7 most powerful crystals for heart chakra. Thank you very much. Not what I'm after. No. Okay, so that's not going to work. So let's talk gemstones terminology. Just the precious gemstones. I want facts, photos, and information for over 100 gems. Sure. Let's go with gemstone terminology. Yeah, let's go with brilliance. Oh, luster. Yes, that's better. Yeah, let's go. Let's have a look through here and get some inspiration. Facet, lovely word. No, I don't want to sign up for updates, but thank you for asking. Excellent. You have a pop-up on your website. Everyone should have one. It reminds me I need to fix mine. Oh, the needles of the mineral rutile. No, okay, that's not right. Found in stones. Simulated tourmalated needles of black tourmaline. Brilliance and luster. Great. Cabochon. Most people aren't going to know what that is. Carrot. Most people know what that is. Facet. Faceting. Facet face. Ooh, yeah. Fire polished focal bead gauge. Inclusion, internal characteristics. Oh, this is really the greatest source of gemstone terminology. Let's see what else we've got. Blue gemstones. Let's see what. Pictures of opal. Pretty cool. Topaz. Black opal is blue. That's interesting. Gosh, that is gorgeous. Wow. You can see why they're popular. Okay. A bit of a run here. I don't really want to lose that run. Pictures of opal. Yeah, pretty amazing. The fellow screen prices per carat. Get the heartfelt stuff done. Physical properties of opal: color, streak, luster. So here we get some terminology here. Cleavage, Mohs hardness. That must be some kind of scale, a Mohs scale. Specific gravity, composition crystal system. Amorphous. That's an interesting word. What does that mean? Solid. Without a clearly defined shape or form. Well, that would be God. A clear structure or focus. Not so much. Not crystalline or not apparently crystalline. Can't use amorphous if we have to change it to topaz though. So there it is. Potentially on LinkedIn at the moment. So you can message it directly. Yes, Verity. Spelling. Well, the other question I asked in the email sent. Polish, that's right. So she answers either of those. All right. Okay. Oh, we're still on the right track. So, grit that rubs between you, but the genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depths. When touched by light, we see its truest hue. Depths bereft. Crest depths. Oh, it's going to be a pretty non-clean rhyme, which, you know, I can get away with. One page. Right, so here we go. Deaths. Breaths. Yeah. Steps. Intercepts. Percepts. Adepts. Darkest depths. Adepts. Yeah, adepts. It's a weird word to put into a sentence. Depths and breadths. No, it's definitely not a rhyme. It's not even close. Depths and steps. Well, can we find another word for depth? Extent, intensity, that means deepness. Fathom, remoteness, profound measurement. Gorge. That's cool. Chasm, fissure. That's interesting. Dimensions. Yeah, could be interesting. Descent, declivity, extreme. That's already from extreme. There's fissure. What do we get for fissure? Cleavage, crevice, cleft, crack, hole. So that's more, yeah. How are opals found? It's mined, aren't they? How are opals mined? Opals are a few minerals that can be extracted economically by a miner working alone. The simplest form of mining carried out in the early days of open mining was by a shaft sinking with a pick and shovel. So again, we get that sense of singularity, finding the opal, the singularity of God creating man. So there might be something in that connection there as well. So rather than mind from darkest depths, we could say mind from single hand, which gives us a much easier rhyme with hand. There's a single something that's a bit more interesting than hand. Might not be S's. Mind from, might not be mind from, might be shape from. No, I like the fact that it's somebody who finds it. How they formed. Let's find out how they formed by science. So maybe it's not about how they're made or how they're found, but their structure. So rather than it being an opal, like antique opal formed. I really like antique opal. I really want to keep that. Ooh. Opals comprised of tiny silica spheres formed when silica-rich water seeps into deep cracks and voids in the Earth's crust. So fissure could work. What just happened there? What's this? That image is very hard to see. Can't even make out what that says. Can I save that image as desktop? See if we can open it and make it bigger. No. Water. Yeah, you can't read it. That sucks. Australian was formed with chemical reaction silicon dioxide. Water runs down through the earth, picks up silica from sandstone, carries the silica rich solution into cracks and voids caused by natural faults or decomposing fossils. As water evaporates, it leaves behind the silica deposit. Deposits have formed a shiny rock appearance with different colors of patterns that people refer to as opals. They are found in ironstone rocks, sandstone rocks, and sometimes in fossils of prehistoric animals such as dinosaurs, bugs, tree roots, and even shells. So we are back to the beauty of the opal being found within other harder, less giving kind of circumstances. So what is it about the opal? Might be something about the way that it's formed, the way that it's hidden, almost like a diamond in the rough type scenario. So it's hidden from view. So it's in the dark, and then we get touched by the light. So we get the light and the dark comparison. So maybe like antique opal, mined from darkest. Well, wow, let's flip that. Mined from deepest. No, deepest dark sounds a bit meh. Darkest depths. Depths accepts. That could work. Kind of sold them. Depths. The genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depths. When touched by light, we see the truest hue. Depths reflects. Ooh, it's a bit too far away. What did I say I was going with? Depths accepts. I'm happy with that. I kind of want that per sound. Depths accepts. I think if we can play on the sounding of the ep. Yeah, actually that could be then the rhyming sound, the ep, accepts and depths. I think we can, if we can do that. So let's go for a little bit of an odd one. Oh, here we go. Great. Get that down there. Words containing EPS. Biceps. Leaps, sleeps, cheaps, weeps, creeps. I don't want eeps. Don't want, oh, words that end in eps. Interesting. Steps. Upkeeps. No, steps. Accepts. What if we go with words containing EPTS? Oh, surely won't be many of those. Words containing EPT. Okay. Words containing EPTS. 26 words containing EPTS. Surely we should be able to find one there. Intercepts. Oh, intercepts. The light interacts and intercepts. All right. Concepts. Percepts. Transepts. What's that mean? Intercept, I know. Nympholepts. What's a nympholept? One who is in a state of nympholepsy. Of course it is. What is nympholepsy? So what is nympholepsy? A frenzy supposed by ancient peoples to have been induced by nymphs. That's useful. An emotional frenzy. Okay. Oh, nymphomaniac. Okay. Yeah. Okay. An ecstatic variety of demonic, nympholepsy, an ecstatic variety of demonic possession believed by the ancients to be inspired by nymphs, a frenzied emotion for something unattainable. So there we have some kind of demonic possession. That could be interesting in the the balance of God. Transept, a transverse part of a cruciform church crossing the nave at right angles. Ooh, so the transept is the middle section of the cross. That's awesome, because then we get the sense of the angles, we get the sense of reflecting, we get the sense of the cross and God and Christ. Let's see if we can find that. Either of the two lateral arms of such a part. Any major transverse part of the body of the church crossing the nave at right angles at the entrance to the choir. An arm of this on either side of the central aisle of the church. So we're talking about aisles of the church. Here we go. Structure forming the transverse part of a cruciform church. Crosses the nave at right angles. Cool. Thing constructed, a complex entity constructed of many parts. The structure consisted of a series of arches, wall and hair, and structure of whorls and ribbons. That does not help. Right, so let's go founding thesaurus. Let's see if there's a clearer definition of it. So it's really, really clear. Church building, church construction, structure. That doesn't help. No. Thanks. Let's go back to our thesaurus and let's go transept. Maybe if you can spell it right. Transept. No, yes, I didn't mean that. What is the word? Transepts. So thesaurus.com are redirected from transepts. Oh yeah. So transepts, so copy there. And let's find definitions. Okay, cool. So it's got a definition. It just, for some reason, can't find any synonyms. And that definition is exactly the same as the one that we had on the other side. Let's be clear about what the nave is. What is the nave? Principal longitudinal area of a church extending from the main entrance or narthex to the chancel, usually flanked by aisles of less height and breadth, generally used only by the congregation. Okay, so we're actually not talking about the cross itself. We're talking about the aisle of the church within the church. That's what we're talking about, isn't it? Usually crossing the nave at right angles at the entrance to the choir. So you've got the entrance that comes through, the main aisle that comes through the church. Did we have an image in there somewhere? And then the nave. Sorry, so that's the nave, the transverse part of a cruciform church. All right, so either of the two wings of a cruciform church. What? We've got cruciform and church as separate ideas there, but not a cruciform church. Well, what is a cruciform church? Let's look that up. You learn so much doing this type of research. No, I don't want Christian churches. I want cruciform church. Here we go. Yeah, okay, so this is what we're talking about. These churches shaped like this. Yeah, cool, which is what you see. All right, cool. So that's the cruciform joint. All right. So this is your transept and nave. And see, there we go. We get that kind of nave. Oh, such depth in that. That's great. because I'm a knave. In Shakespeare's ideals, the knave is, you know, an idiot, a stupid person. You know, you knave. So we can talk about the transept. We can talk about a knave being the reference to the person. So we can get that sense in there of, yeah, we get that sense of Christian light, God's light converting. So this is a transformation, because it's not just, so he takes a knave like me and makes me something greater when I am transept, darkest depths. And so we see the knave turned by transept. I don't know, I mean, it's really rough. And all of that stuff came from the opal. That's crazy. That's so crazy. Oh, her birthday. Yeah, okay, great. So her birthday. Oh, she actually got this. All right, so her birthday's in October and it's gone. So it was a week or so ago. Cool. Great. So this is the other reason why it's important to make notes about this stuff, because when I hand these sonnets over, it's always really important to make sure that you point out all of the depth of this conversation that goes into it, because people will just read it and they won't know the relativity of some of these phrases. So I can't even remember how we ended up from opals to fishes to knaves to transepts. Well, the transept is the rhyming word for depth. That's where that came from. Okay, so I reminded to myself. Notes. I'll do this down here. Let's go. Notes. Transept is the, well, let's get the definition straight off of right, so let's go. Transept. Wow, it's amazing, isn't it? Amazing. Let's go. Transept. We'll just steal all of that, copy that, pop that in there, and we'll get the link. Where'd the link go? Dictionary.com. Oh, my friend. The interest of the choir. All right, cool. So then the question is, can we get something that correlates between the hue and the choir, given that this is something to do with the body of a church? Yeah, I think we can get away. Body of a church, body of a body, definite connection there. Heart. So maybe when touched by light is too many words. We need to actually use the light. When light reveals the light passing through the heart of the stone. Yeah, I think we want to try and get that way somewhere if we can. So rather than it being when touched by light, we see the truest here, we want to get something in there about the heart. Oh, a stony heart. So you get that sense of the gemstone's heart, and us as humans having a stony heart that is actually changed when it is touched by the light of God. Whew, that's a lot to fit in there. But then the transept gives you the 90-degree turn. And then I, as a stony-hearted human, am a knave. I am a knave. All right, so we are, oh my goodness, pulling this all together. So, wow, that's actually really cool. So we're basically saying, but the genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depths. Do we want depths? We kind of want depths now that we found transept. And we want to leave that as depth, not depths. So the transept and depth kind of don't have them a plural. Essentially, the light reflecting, because it's more understandable than refracting. Basically, light reflecting through its heart reveals its truest hue. And how do we get that down into 10 syllables? And then, so what do we got? This is a line, that's a line, that's looking like a line. And there's something in there that's a line. Lights reflecting through its heart reveals its truest hue. So we're only 3 syllables over. Genius of God shines from within you. Because again, you get that shining, the light shining from within you. That's coming from your heart. Like antique opal mined from darkest depth. Can we get another word that condenses light reflecting through? Reflecting through is 4. Its is 5. Truest, pure. Can we change that from 2 syllables to 1? We save a syllable there. Pure hue. That's a tough thing to say. I think its truest could be replaced by the single word purest hue, which is actually even more nice, to use a crappy word. Do we need reflecting? We don't need reflecting. We just need the fact that the light is affecting the heart. Purest, we can get away with 2 syllables out of purest hue. Purest hue is 3. We just want to start with 10 syllables and then we can get the rhythm right. Oh, yes. The genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depth. When touched by light, we see its purest hue. Yes, yes, which is back to the line that we had to start with. When touched by light, we see, or let's say her purest, referring to the stone as a her, but then also her being the recipient. When touched by light, we see her purest hue. So we're actually going to ditch that as our main line. We'll actually take that one back up again. The genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depth. When touched by light, we see her purest hue. I love this, a simple knave. Transformed. By right transept. A simple knave transformed by right transept. It's the right syllables, a simple knave transformed by right transept. I don't like right, transformed by right transept. I'd much prefer to find something else. Except that. Right kind of refers to right angle. The genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depth. When touched by light, we see her purest hue, a simple knave transformed by right transept. It's not a really lovely finish. It's not. It doesn't have that kind of gravitas of an ending. Transept. It's just so short. There's nothing continuant about it. It's all plosive sounds, which makes them short and sharp and not as pleasant to that kind of rising moment. It might be the right. I think if I can find a word to replace right that is a little bit more continuant and a little softer, so rather than it's just being a really hard sounding, the word right. Transept, I think, will work because you've got the NS in the middle of it. I think that continuant sense will help grow it. I think the word right needs to be softer and continuant rather than short and plosive. So let's have a look for other words for right. So we're looking for soft, because we want right as in the right turn, but we want right as in not wrong. You know, it's the right, you know, the fact that God is in your life, it's right, it works, it's good. And it needs to be one syllable. So we come back to true transept. I didn't think of that, but oh yeah, well, we took true out. Yeah, we could kind of get away with true. Still, the tur is a bit plosive. It's the sound. I think it's the tur. You got that alliteration with the double tr. Oh, actually, that might work. A simple knave. Oh, triple tr, transformed by true transept. That now gives it a little bit more gravitas because you've got that repetition with the alliteration of the tr sound. Then you've got the continuant sound of the true transept. So that's nice. So that actually works. A simple knave transformed by true transept. I don't mind that. The genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depth. When touched by light, we see her purest hue, a simple knave transformed by true transept. Yeah. It's still a bit of a weird ending because no one's going to know what the hell that word means. It's not wrong. It's not a bad thing to have a word in there that nobody knows because they'll want to know what that means. And then you start to get into the whole nuts and bolts of the fact that in the church you have a nave and the transept, and that they form the cross, and then that's actually a section within the church, and then you get that sense of transformation of truth. That works. The layers and the layers and the layers, and that's what we want. We want layers of thought. We want layers of meaning. Yeah, so not only am I, as a simple nave, being transformed by a true cross, right? The cross changed me. As a nave, I was changed by the cross. And within the church, the actual building of the church, you have that transformation where you turn within the church from the nave to the transept. Yeah, I love it. The layers work. All right. So we're going to go, that's third quatrain. That's the third. So third quatrain, changing of me as a knave, a bad, simple, ignorant person into a follower of God. Layered with the nave and transept of the church. Architecture, which is great because then you also get the difference of that sense of the body of Christ and the church body. So not only do we get the physical body transformed by the light of God, we get the physical church building concept in there with the nave and the transept, but then we also get that sense of its relationship with the body of Christ as the body of the church. Love it, love it, love it. So sorry, green and blue, you're out. We don't need you after all. And you're all gone, so we're going to ditch you as well. Cool. So we'll ditch you. So that's our. So now we have our heartfelt turn. And where's our rhyming couplet? Yeah. So let's just go on that page. So if we pull that up to here. So that's our rhyming couplet. May need a little tweaking. But genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depth. When touched by light, we see her purest hue, a simple nave transformed by true transept. A search between Poland, pole could never find a friend like you, as honest, true, and kind. I actually really like that as an ending. I think that works. So now our job is to write 2 comedic opening stanzas, and the comedy will be in the fact that we're talking so much about how much we hate the beach. Might not be comedy for everyone, but because this person hates the beach so much, it will make them smile, it will make them laugh. And then you get that wonderful turn that pulls all this stuff together. The idea being that what the heck was God thinking when he made the beach? I don't get it. And it's a little bit odd, but the reality is we're actually talking sand and silica, and opal is formed by silica being left behind. So it actually works even more than we thought it would right at the start. So let's go back to our, no, we don't need our November Gemstones. We need blue pictures, visual properties. Ready to record. Yeah, so yeah. All right, so let's write a couple of stanzas about how much we hate the beach. I love this grit, the grit that rubs between. And we can save a syllable there by making that rubs tween. So I think that's going to stop with. So I think we want to make it despicable. We want the beach to kind of almost be personified as this despicable, horrible person that we hate. that it's out. It's out for our displeasure. So I think the grit that's sort of rubs between your toes, gets stuck inside your shoes, doth hide to be revealed when least expected. So we've got three things. The sun that beats with ne'er a place to hide. So we probably won't use hide up here, but that whole idea that basically you go to the beach and there's nothing there. There's no trees for shade. So there's no shade. There's no cover. Oh, so if it rains at the beach, you've got nothing to hide under either. To protect from the weather if it turns. Cool. Sure. Some that beats with near a place to hide. Yep. So we get grit between our toes, and that gets stuck in issues for days. You got sun that beats down, and you can't hide from it. You can't have any shade. You've got to take it all yourself. It's like the world. It's like the good things of the world packed up and left. You know, trees and branches and shade and the canopy. What else? What else do we hate? Because we either got to make it all about one thing, or we got to make it three things, because having two things across 6 lines doesn't really work, because all these things kind of happen in pairs. So we can have one whole quatrain. Yes, because if the last 2 lines of our second quatrain are about the concept of, it makes me wonder what the heck God was thinking, then it's kind of a bit odd to have 4 lines of one thing, 2 lines of another, and then 2 lines of the question. So it really needs to be 3 things across 2 lines each. Yeah, so I think if we go the sand, the sun, it has to be something about the waves, the drowning, the taste, the saltiness. Yeah, I think so. We've got to go salty tasting, salty water that stings the eyes and mouth. Yes, there's nothing pleasant about the water. There's nothing pleasant about the sand, and there is nothing pleasant about the sun. What the heck was God thinking when he made this piece of crap? Yeah. 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 Oh, and we've got to get that catchphrase in. What was the catchphrase? From that perspective? Was that right? Nope. Lost it. Where did I put it? There it is. What's the catchphrase? Oh, so we've got the moon, the countryside. Oh, got the moon, the countryside, and the mountains. So the sun and the moon. So here we are now. Oh, yeah. So now we've got some contrast. The sun and the moon, which she does like. The sand versus the country. Oh, so countryside and mountains, kind of the same sort of thing. The countryside has a river. So if we go if we go the salt water of the beach versus the plain water, plain not being the word, of the countryside. And so the sand being open, I'd rather have the mountains lined with trees. So maybe we can go down that line of contrasting the things that she loves with that thing that she hates. Yeah, okay, so that's another option there as well. So we can bring those other things that she loves into this, and we need the catchphrase from that perspective. Okay. Can we get caring, thoughtful, selfless in there instead of what words I used? Caring, honest, true and kind. Let's take those. Oh, see, she likes a good book. Then you've got God with the good book. Still a possibility. Thought. Let's take honest out. And let's put in some of her words as thoughtful. Thoughtful. Well, let's leave it thoughtful, true, and kind, because kind is caring, kind is selfless. They're kind of the same thing. Kind and find will give us that beautiful rhyme. True means honest. Yeah. Or maybe we could put selfless, true, and kind, but thoughtful and true, those double T's, that's. So we'll, because then I'm using her words. We'll think about it. So it's either going to be thoughtful or selfless. Thoughtful, true, and kind works. Selfless, true, and kind does not work anywhere near as well. Selfless. Yeah. We could pull that forward and go a selfless friend who's thoughtful, true, and kind. But no, then we're not specifying that it's her. We like a friend like you. We could go a selfless friend like you, thoughtful and kind. A selfless friend like you. I hate like you. I prefer as you. Not as big a fan of that. A selfless, so we're going to pull that out. I'm not as happy with that at the moment. A friend like you. That's what we're saying. We said we could search between each poles. We're not going to find anyone like you at all. I think you might just need to keep it. Search between pole and pole, could never find a friend. A friend as selfless. That's still pretty clear. And then we get all four of them. Because she's giving this to her so that the understanding is that it is talking about her. She's Ukrainian. Okay, cool. No problem. Well, we won't worry about mentioning that. We could actually, if we want to talk about this being, do a trip between pole and pole, could never find a friend as selfless, thoughtful, true, and kind. I think, yeah, true being honest, selfless and caring, much the same. Kind and caring are the same, so get away with that. Selfless, thoughtful, true, and kind. I think that works. A friend is selfless, thoughtful, true, and kind. That's nice. That's driving that home. I actually think that's a better ending. All right. So, great. The grit that rubs between toes and underfoot. And hides within your shoe forevermore. Yeah, because it's really nice. You can never get it out. The grit that rubs between toes and underfoot and hides within your shoe forevermore. Or let's say, yeah. And sun that beats with ne'er a place to hide. No, I can't say hide. I've got to rhyme with foot. Hide. Foot. What have we got for foot? What can we do for foot? Foot. I want rhymes. Output, shot put. Not a lot that rhymes with foot. It's really all puts or soots. Let's see if we can swap that around. Oh, that could be more interesting. And under soul. Oh, yes. So now we're layering in the whole sense of being redeemed and saved, because now you've got something grit in your soul. Yes. The grit that rubs between toes and under soul. Oh, and in your soul. Yes. And in your soul. That never seems, well, obviously don't take that line out. But kind of like in that soul. Yeah, so we're going to get this whole sense of redemption right through this whole thing as well. The grit that rubs between toes and in your soul. What does it do in your soul? It makes you uncomfortable. That never lets you find your comforts rest. Something like that. It never lets you find your comforts rest. Yeah, that peace, your comforts peace, your peaceful rest, your comfort. Yeah, let's go with peaceful rest. That makes more sense to people. It never lets you find your peaceful rest. Soul and rest, pretty easy to rhyme. And sun that beats with ne'er a place. So soul, we're going to rhyme soul now. Let's go. What's some rhyme soul? Soul. We've got our normal soul. Dole, bowl, foal, stroll, hole, roll, pole, knoll. For whom the bell. What's the knoll? What's an N-O-L-L? What's knoll? I know that word. No, I did not mean mole. Oh, there is no knoll. Okay. Oh, knoll is with a K. A bluff, a cliff, a dune, a hilltop. You get a definition for knoll? A small rounded hill or eminence hillock. Interesting. Okay. This knoll. My pate. All right. So the sun beats down upon my head and burns me every time. Soul. Console. Console, roll. Roll. So maybe we flip that. Put the sun in the second line. I like the fact that there's no place to hide. There's nowhere to cover. Because then the sun can burn. I've got to try and get it rhyme with rest. Burns from pate to chest. Oh yeah. Burns from pate to chest. All right, so that gets the head and the chest. Yeah. That burns from pate to chest. Mighty something. Something, right? Yeah. So 4 syllables. That burns from pate to chest. Oh, I like that. I like that. So that's our rest. Yeah. The sun which burns. The sun which. No, I need 4 syllables before that burns. So some kind of adjectives for the sun. The fiery sun that burns from pate to chest. Fire, burn. The fiery sun that burns from pate to chest. The grit that rubs twin toes and in your soul, but never lets you find your peaceful rest. So we're actually saying there's no trees, no canopy to give your something console And that's kind of funny because Verity used to work at a company with me called Console. So she'll get a chuckle out of that. The fiery sun that burns from pate to chest. So there's no canopy to give rest or console. Yep. To give rest or console from fiery sun that burns. So rather than the, we go from. Yep, so that works. And water that can never be consumed. All right, so we might need to work this backwards and try and do the second part of this and then rhyme the first two lines so that we can get the phrasing of that. Makes me wonder what God had in mind when he was making the beach. The grit that rubs between toes and in your soul and never lets you find your peaceful rest. No canopy to give rest. Okay, so we need another word for rest. Synonyms for rest. Can't have two rests in there. Break, calm. Calm or console? Yeah, ease. Calm is good. The canopy to, and then we get the alliteration of the canopy, calm, and console, which I like even more. Big fan of 3 alliterations. I could even get a 4th in there going, no canopy can give calm or console. No, to give. The fact that there is no canopy to give, there's no canopy, there's no trees. Yeah, cool. And then I think I'm almost kind of thinking I can't build in the specific correlation in each of these 2 lines. So maybe that 7th and 8th line can be makes me question God when I see beach. Without the mountains, rivers. Yeah, so maybe that's something along those lines. And that's where we bring in those favorite things of hers. Without the rivers, country. Mountains. Wonder what God makes me question. Makes me question God when I see beach. The grit that rubs between your toes. The grit that rubs between toes and in your soul that never lets you find your peaceful rest. No canopy to give calm or console from fiery sun that burns from pate to chest. The water that can never be consumed. Distasteful to the tongue and stings the eyes. That's not right because I need to rhyme. Oh, no. Where'd that go? All right, so let's get that up there. Soul rest. So we've got sun that beats with ne'er a place to hide. So that's that one. All right, so that's gone. Sun that beats, that's gone. That's gone. That's third. And that's our fourth. Oh no, that one. That's our first quatrain. Grit that rubs tween toes and in your soul that never lets you find your peaceful rest. No canopy to give calm or console from fiery sun that burns from pate to chest. Rough water. Let's go rough. The waves. Rough water that can never be consumed. Distasteful to the eyes. Distasteful to the tongue and stings the eyes. So now we've just got to get this second set here. So we're not going to worry about the fact that it lasts for days. That can go. That can go. So we've got to try and make a correlation. Yep, that's much what we've got here. Stinging the eyes and all that kind of jazz. So I need to basically shape this so that I'm basically saying you can't drink the water, it hurts your eyes. And if there's no river, no country, and no mountainside, it makes me question what God was thinking. Okay. I really like that two lines. Rough water that can never be consumed, distasteful to the tongue and stings the eyes. Maybe not consumed. Maybe it's not that it can't be consumed. Maybe it's rough water that is filled with deadly, I mean, landers as well, but maybe it's something that doth hide deadly something. Deadly something. We could go do that again. That stings the eyes and cannot be consumed. Is there a rhyme for consumed? What would be a good rhyme for consumed? Consumed. No, I don't want a definition. I want a thesaurus, please. I want synonyms. Thesaurus, synonyms, please. Deplete. Occupied, dominate, drain, eat up, employed, exhausted. Well, it can't be used. Yeah, maybe something like that. Oh, something about the fact that it's got all this weird creatures that it sustains, but it actually doesn't sustain humans. So it hates humans. Yeah. Rough water that doth hate the human form. Hate the human form. All right, let's see if we can find another. If we want to rhyme for country or mountain that sits in the concept of form. I don't want synonyms, don't we? No. Side. Bankside, bedside, betide. Denied. Oh, denied. And then we get denied and countryside. So if we did that, Control X that. I don't like the rivers. I think something in there. I think maybe something like basically where there is no river, mountain, or countryside. Spelling. I obviously need to fix the start. So it's obviously that's too long. Kind of like countryside. What did I say? Denied. So we're talking about the idea of a water that almost get over denies countryside. Denied, because in our brain we think denied when we hear denies. The grit that rubs twin toes and in your soul that never lets you find your peaceful rest. No canopy to give calm or console from fiery sun that burns from pate to chest. Rough water that the human form denies. What is it denied? It's denied us life. No, I think we're starting to get too far into it if we're trying to say that, you know, it sustains all this life, because we still eat that fish, even though the sharks will kill us and the jellyfish will kill us. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there that'll kill us. I think we're pushing it a bit too hard. I think we just want to say that the body rejects it. So doesn't hate the human form. Try and get denied in there. Denied side. What else have we got? What else have we got? What else have we got? Lied pride. I still haven't worked out that other sentence though yet, so I'm not even set on that. What have we got for mountain? Different ending. Countryside, mountain. I like the length and the eyed. Kind of like that better. Well, let's go mountain. Fountain. The water. The fountain of youth. Fountain of life. It's possible. Yeah, wonder if that'd work. Turn the water into a fountain. Fountain is man-made. It's not a waterfall. No, let's stay away from fountain. I'm not a keen lover of that. What else can we use to describe the water? Side, I think denied. Let's go. We're going to go backwards from denied. What's been denied? So let's work backwards. What's been denied? Taste. The ability to drink it. We are denied. Do we want to bring man into this yet? Got the soul up the top. Something, what's denied? If you drink the water, what are you? You're not refreshed. Thirst is denied. Quenching of your thirst will be denied. So if we're going, let's get this line sorted. We're going to end with countryside. The quenching of your thirst will be denied. So that's going to be, actually, that's going to be the first. So that's good. I love the entry to that. The quenching of your thirst will be denied if you drink this water. Yeah, great. That's a great line. The quenching of your thirst will be denied if from this something you do drink, beach, breach, beseech, beseech, beseech. beseech. What does beseech mean? To beseech something is to isn't beseech a word? Isn't beseech? Yes, to implore. Yes. That's what I thought. Yeah. I beseech you. To appeal. Yeah. The quenching of your thirst will be denied if to this water's something you do beseech. Water's call, you do beseech. No, that's not right. That's not right. This water's something. Something grand about this water. The quenching of your thirst will be denied. That is staying. That is a great line. If to this water's hope, what are you hoping to have your thirst quenched? What do you do? Call. Let's find another word for call. It's not call. It's not really call. Announced hail, cry. Cry. To this water's cry. No, what's it presenting you? It's you're hoping it's going to answer the call of your. It's going to quench your thirst. If to this water's. What is it? You're calling out to the water to help you. So you want the water to take pity on you. It's almost like to this water's hope. To the hope of this water. If to this water's something you do beseech, if you cry out, if you Lord, you'll crave, plead. So you're appealing to the water's sense of generosity, its goodness. So it's like a bad person. You can appeal to the goodness of this person all you like, but they will leave you unsatisfied, as Romeo says. So let's seek for goodness. Grace. If to this water's grace you do beseech. Yes, that is the word. And grace is a gift from God. So again, we come back to God. Oh my goodness, this is actually shaping up really nicely. Lacking of, not lacking the, countryside at the end. Oh, it's just not going to work. River, mountain, countryside. I think the or needs to be and. I think the or needs to be and. I think Don't need mountain. Rolling hills, not mountain. River, rolling hills, and countryside. Or maybe it's just hills rather than mountain. Hills are alive. Compared. Yes, compared to river, hills, and countryside. Mountains is better. Mountains has scale. What else is another word for mountains? Cliffs. Hills. Cliffs, dune, highlands, hillside, hilltop. Kind of need one syllable. Oh no, I could probably get two. Compared to river, hills. I think it might need to be just hills. Hills gives you the sense of mountains. Rolling hills. I'd love rolling hills in there. Compared to river, hills, and countryside. I think that needs to be it. I question God when I makes me question God when I see beach. God's brilliance is something when I see beach. I think it has to be when I see beach. I think it just has to be. But it's not. See, here's the thing. This is the problem. It's the recipient that hates the beach, not necessarily Verity. Is it because of beach? When I see beach, what is reduced? Is it God's brilliance? Is it his genius? No, because we've got genius in the next quatrain in the turn. So can we rip all that over there? We know that's going to be there. We're going to pull this back up. So we're a couple of lines away. There's our turn. So we're going to rip that out. We know that's done. Pull that down a line and get a bit of space. No, apparently, no, we can't do that. And the comedy comes a little bit in the fact that it's beach. Like it's like you've got all this beautiful poetry. It's like, but then there's the beach. So that kind of works. All right. So we're 2 lines off. We're 2 lines off this sonnet being actually pretty done. And I don't know that it will need much work. I don't think it's going to need, like, it's a pretty good, like as a draft. I don't think it's one that I'm going to have to kind of go back over and tweak it all because we've really kind of worked it hard already. The genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depth. When touched by light, we see her purest hue, a simple knave transformed by true transept. Again, it's a hard. No, I'm not loving that now. Oh, yes. What if I swap that around? That might work nicer. But genius of God shines from within you, a simple knave transformed by true transept. When touched by light, we see your purest hue, like antique opal mined from darkest depth. Gain, not a great ending. Nah, not sold. I'm loving the transept. All right. I'm still not sold on that. Anyway, we'll work on that. Okay, but there might still be more work to do. All right, so we are looking at got denied. Maybe we take out the rivers, the hills, and countryside. It would be really cool to get that in, but I think we need to really, I think we need the space to kind of really get this questioning. Ah, ah. So maybe it's when I see the brilliance of this amazing sort of, so when seeing river, hills, and countryside, I can't believe the same God made the beach. When seeing rivers, hills, and countrysides, can't believe that same God made the beach. That works. Yeah, I actually think that works. Okay. Yes, I actually think that works. I can't believe it. All right, so let's get this all together, and then we just got to sort out that last little quatrain. I'm still not uber happy with the. I love the imagery of it, but it just feels so hard. But that's a personal choice. I like the soft and flowy, constant continuous sounds. Maybe I put S's on the ends of those. The genius of God shines from within you, a simple knave transformed by true transepts. When touched by light, we see her purest hue, like antique opal mined from darkest depths. Oh my goodness. Putting an S on the end made all the difference. And actually, let's see how that reads back the other way. Because the genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depths. When touched by light, we see her purest hue, a simple knave transformed by true transepts. Just needed the plural. Just needed the S. Trip, travel, search, a hunt tween. That's a good trip. Cruise, foray, jaunt, outing, run, swing, tour, travel, trek. A trek. Trek is cool. A trek. between pole and pole. You trek to the North Pole. Yeah, that makes more sense. I actually think that's the word we need. A trek between pole and pole could never find a friend as selfless, thoughtful, true, and kind. I think it's done. I think that's it. Oh my goodness. All right, let's read it. How long's this been? I have no idea. What's it? Oh, it's almost 10 o'clock, so that's a couple of hours. The grit that rubs tween toes and in your soul that never lets you find your peaceful rest. No canopy to give calm or console from fiery sun that burns from pate to chest. From fiery sun that burns. From. I think it's okay. The grit that rubs tween toes and in your soul that never lets you find your peaceful rest. No canopy to give calm or console from fiery sun that burns from pate to chest. The quenching of your thirst will be denied if to this water's grace you do beseech. That is a great line. When seeing rivers, hills, and countryside, I can't believe that same God made the beach. She's going to love that. That is hilarious. But genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depths. When touched by light, we see its purest hue, a simple knave transformed. See her purest hue, see its purest hue. Her. I think I'll leave it as her. When touched by light, we see her purest hue, a simple knave transformed by true transepts. A trek between pole and pole could never find. And then you got the pole. A trek between pole and pole could never find a friend as selfless, thoughtful, true, and kind. Damn, that's a good sonnet. Yep. Grit that rubs. Oh, there's a double that there. That's an extra syllable we don't need. The grit that rubs tween toes and in your soul that never lets you find your peaceful rest. No canopy to give calm or console from fiery sun that burns from pate to chest. The quenching of your thirst will be denied if to this water's grace you do beseech. Love that line. When seeing rivers, hills, and countryside, I can't believe that same God made the beach. But genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depths. When touched by light, we see her purest hue, a simple knave transformed by true transepts. A trek between pole and pole could never find a friend as selfless, thoughtful, true, and kind. Damn. Yep. I think that's fine. Full stop there. Comma there. This is often how it runs with me. Comma, full stop. I don't run them. I think that needs one. I don't think that needs one. The genius of God shines from within you like antique opal mined from darkest depths. When touched by light, we see her purest hue, a simple knave. That's going to be a semicolon. Trek between pole and pole could never find a friend as selfless, thoughtful, true, and kind. Yep. And there we have our sonnet. Thank you for joining me. That was quite a trek, but I think we did a good job. So I'll send that off to Verity and we'll get that approved, and then I'll pop it onto one of the boarders and send it through to her, and hopefully her friend will be very, very happy with that as a gift. See you next time. And how do I end screen? And that's like that awkward moment where you think you're leaving, but you're not. So yeah.